Batting gloves. Everybody in Major League Baseball wears them today, save a select few. Today they are ubiquitous, from Little League up through high school and into the major leagues. But when did this start, and by whom? And who cares? Well, I do. In a sport where we take note of the first player to hit 2 home runs in a day game on natural grass against a left-hander from Tulsa, Oklahoma, while chewing bubblegum, I think that this should matter. I saw a Wikipedia entry quoting a story about the origin of the batting glove, but this is Wikipedia, where anyone can claim anything. Here's a summary of the Wikipedia entry as of May 9th, 2024, giving credit to Ken the Hawk Harrelson. Ken describes after playing 27 holes of golf with fellow players, he went straight to the ballpark for a game against the Yankees, whereby he developed a blister on his left hand during batting practice. He goes on to say that he remembered he had his golf glove in the pocket of his jeans, and that he went to bat wearing the flaming red golf glove in the first inning to face Whitey Ford. He claims that in that first inning at bat, Whitey hung him a curveball that he hit 450 feet for a home run over the left center wall. He goes on to say that in about the 6th inning, Whitey hung him another curveball and he hit that one about 480 feet. He concludes the story by saying the next day, all of the Yankees came out of their clubhouse with flaming red golf gloves on, as Ken stated that Mickey Mantle had the clubby go out and purchase them. Harrelson laughs and states, quote, "And that's how the hitting glove got started." It's a funny story, but when I read it, it seemed maybe a little bit too dramatic. The Hawk hits 2 home runs, and none other than the preeminent star baseball player of the day, Mickey Mantle, gets involved and asks the clubby to go buy everybody on the team a red golf glove, and they all wear them the next day. First of all, I'm an avid baseball card collector, and I don't ever recall seeing Mickey Mantle wearing a batting glove on any card. So I started looking. Turns out some of Hawk's story is demonstrably false. Hawk Harrelson played from 1963 to 1971. In those 9 years, he played in 900 games. I'm a baseball nerd, so of course I looked at every one of those 900 baseball games. In only one game did he hit 2 home runs against the Yankees, and that game was played September 4th, 1964. Whitey Ford did start that day, but only 1 home run was off of Whitey, and it wasn't in the first inning, it was in the 3rd. His second home run was off Pete Mickelson. Yes, I'm being picky, but here's the thing. When evaluating source material for historical purposes, you have to look at everything in totality. If the source material is inconsistent or incorrect in some aspects, you have to consider that the factual point you're trying to verify may also be incorrect. If I can, without a doubt, refute the few facts of the story that I can actually research with real data, how can I put any faith in the parts that I can't verify? Another important part of research is something drilled into me many years ago. Consider the source. You have to consider the source of the material that you're trying to verify. Here we have Ken Harrelson telling a story about Ken Harrelson being the first player to wear a batting glove. Does it seem possible that maybe Ken Harrelson might want to overstate the significance or historical importance of Ken Harrelson? Also consider this. Nowhere could I find any reference to Mickey Mantle repeating this story. There are, in fact, no other sources that I could find that mention this story. They all come back to Ken Harrelson sharing this information. It's circular. So I can't verify the claim, but can I refute it? So, being a baseball card collector, I started to look at every baseball card that Topps produced before this game in 1964. I have this great book. This thing's a monster. Topps baseball cards. It's gigantic. It has every Topps card ever made from 1951, and this one goes up through 1985. It has color prints of every Topps card printed. My wife and I spend many romantic evenings together combing through the photos. So I started digging through in 1963. Bingo. 1963 Topps Charlie Lau, at least a full year before Hawks game. And consider that the photos for baseball cards are taken at least a season before the release date. This photo dates until no later than 1962. But I kept looking. 2 more in 1962. Card number 272, Earl Robinson. And I believe that's a glove on card number 49, Hal Jones. To save some time, I'll tell you I went through every single card through 1951. And I did find another. The earliest example I could find of any player wearing a batting glove on any baseball card, 1961, card number 5, Johnny Romano. But hold on. Let's go back to the Wikipedia entry, because it does include this bit of a disclaimer. Some claim the first player to wear a batting glove was Bobby Thompson of the Giants, who wore golf gloves during spring training in 1949. Ken, the Hawk Harrelson, has been credited with being the first player to wear a batting glove in an actual game. as opposed to usage during batting practice. Well, these 1960s baseball cards are definitely not game photos. The earliest baseball card photo I can recall that was an actual game shot is that great 1971 Thurman Munson baseball card. But let's go back and look at Hawk Harrelson's baseball cards. And no batting gloves. But here he is in 1970 with a glove. But by 1970, there were plenty of players wearing batting gloves. So what can we conclude? I did find material through none other than the National Baseball Hall of Fame that says this. Lefty O'Doul and Johnny Frederick both seem to have used some form of batting gloves in 1932, according to a brief article in the Sporting News which described their, quote, shock absorbers. Both players had been injured, and both adapted with padding. Frederick wrapped his thumb with padding before each at bat, while O'Doul wore, quote, an ordinary street glove when facing the pitcher. So where does this leave us? I guess I'm comfortable with the Hawk claiming that he made the batting glove mainstream, but clearly he wasn't the first to wear one. The reason why batting gloves took so long to catch on is simple: machismo. Even as late as the 1980s, George Brett said he would not wear gloves because, quote, I ain't no sissy. Seems weird to think like that, but it took an absolute mandate by the league years after Ray Chapman was killed before players would wear helmets. So maybe I shouldn't be surprised. But hold on, I'm not finished talking about batting gloves yet.
Not so fast, my friends.
How many batting gloves do you think a player uses in a season? And why do so many players wear Franklin gloves? Franklin? I could see Nike or Adidas or Under Armour, but Franklin? Well, it's more interesting than you might think. Maybe. Franklin has been the official batting glove of Major League Baseball since 1988. According to Franklin president Adam Franklin, I wonder how he got the job, of the roughly 400 hitters on opening day rosters in 2023, 250 wear Franklin gloves. Franklin also has deals with another 450 minor league players. Franklin's first batting glove was designed in 1983 in consultation with Mike Schmidt. Now, I'm a child of the 1970s and 80s, and I can tell you, for me personally, the guy that made batting gloves cool was Rickey Henderson. I can just see him in my mind taking a big lead at first, bent over at the waist with his hands dangling, almost touching the ground. He was so cool. Everything Rickey did was cool. So Franklin dominated the market in the early 80s with the glove designed by Schmidt, and then became the official glove of MLB in 1988. According to an article by Zach Buchanan of the New York Times, Franklin provides most players with 48 pairs of gloves to start the season. Some players will wear a pair for as long as they are hot at the plate. Some will toss them anytime they go hitless in a game. Each player obviously has his own taste. They also make them for one-off days like Mother's Day Pink, Father's Day Blue, Jackie Robinson Day, or with special designs like this pair for Pete Alonso. But they aren't just for looks or grip. Shohei's gloves, made by New Balance, have a pad on the exposed hand in case he gets hit there by a pitch. Okay, so that's my treatise on batting gloves. Now I'm done. Thank you for your time. Take care.